All right, let's bring in Karl Rove now, Fox News contributor and former Deputy White House Chief of Staff. Karl, I'm just going to tee up here. Tell us what you're thinking at this hour. You've had a lot of time to digest what happened last night.
It was an unmitigated disaster last night for Joe Biden. Think about what Jill Biden said. Who has the ability to lead the country? Last night we saw a slack-jawed, droopy-eyed, mangled his words, lost his train of thought, couldn't keep his focus on his opponent, kept looking down. He just looked really, really old because guess what? He is. And I think it's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, to recover from the image that we had last night. Presidents have had bad first debates, but they've generally been able to recover in a second debate. Ronald Reagan did it in 1984. George W. Bush did it in 2004. Barack Obama did it in 2012. But that second debate was a matter of, 10 days to 14 days later. The next presidential debate is 10 weeks off, and we're going to have plenty of time to digest what we saw last night. And the American people, I think, are going to internalize that by saying he is just too old.
I mean, there's so many questions at this hour, and one of them is, what about all those in power who knew that this was the Biden behind the scenes? Or at a minimum, we're ignoring warnings. I mean, let's think about Robert Hur back in February, appointed by Merrick Garland, who wouldn't even bring charges against him because he said a jury would find him to be a sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. Remember when Democrats were pressed on the issue then? This was Senate Majority Leader Schumer's response to those challenges, February 13th on Capitol Hill. Listen.
He's fine. All this right-wing propaganda that his mental acuity has declined is wrong.
I think the campaign needs to let him get out there and be who he is. And I also am sick and tired of everybody talking about his age.
She calls him a friend, says she talks to him regularly. Schumer said in that press conference that he talks to him several times a week and has known him 30 years. So how about some accountability, and where's the responsibility for those who knew this was Joe Biden and knew this was happening behind the scenes?
Well, the ultimate accountability will be if he remains at the head of the Democratic ticket, he will lose. And the guy who thought he was the only Democrat who could beat Donald Trump will lose, and lose badly based on last night's performance. Look, for over a year, I happened to work in that place for 7 years, the White House. And I saw what it required of a fit young man who entered that job, I think, at the age of 54 and aged over the course of those 8 years. This a year ago, I'm thinking, what is this guy thinking about running for re-election? He promised to be a transitional figure. He was going to restore normality to the White House, and we all thought he was going to be a one-term president and transition to a new, younger generation. And when he got into the race for re-election, I'm thinking, what are they thinking? He is not getting younger. And as this campaign has gone, more and more people that I've talked to who had doubts about Donald Trump would say something along the following lines. I don't like Donald Trump. I liked his policies, but I don't like the man. But I'm scared to death of Kamala Harris being president of the United States because Joe Biden is 81 and he's not going to necessarily,
Karl,
he's fighting the actuarial tables.
I'm jumping in here because we obviously are now seeing the president.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.